Summer is supposed to be a time for fun, sun-soaked beaches, road trips, poolside nights. But not every vacation ends with happy memories. Some trips leave behind scars, the kind you can't forget. Tonight, I'll share with you 3 chilling true summer vacation horror stories, real encounters that might just make you think twice before booking your next getaway. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jocelyn, and I bring you spine-tingling horror stories, both true accounts and terrifying narrations. If you enjoy getting scared, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a night of horror. Now turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's dive into the darkness. It was supposed to be just another desert road trip stop. Story 1: Motel Pool. My wife and I were driving through Nevada last summer. It was one of those road trips where you don't really have a plan, you just stop when you're tired. We'd been on the road for 12 hours when we saw a glowing neon sign that read, Desert Oasis Motel, pool open all night. It was nearly midnight, and the thought of a pool under the desert stars sounded perfect. The motel itself looked old, but not abandoned. Yellowed curtains, buzzing lights, the kind of place where you can smell the mildew the second you walk in. But the clerk was friendly enough. He gave us room 6, right across from the pool. After unpacking, my wife said she was too tired to swim, but I couldn't resist. I changed into my trunks and slipped outside. The desert air was still and warm, but the pool water was strangely cold, almost icy, like it hadn't been touched all day. I dove in. At first, it was relaxing. Just me floating under the stars, neon sign humming nearby. But after a few minutes, I felt something brush against my leg. I thought maybe it was a leaf. But when I looked, the pool was perfectly clear. Then I felt it again, this time wrapping lightly around my ankle. I shot up, treading water. That's when I noticed something strange. The deep end of the pool was darker, like the bottom wasn't visible anymore. I swam closer, trying to see, and that's when a hand shot up from the dark water and grabbed my wrist. I screamed and tried to yank away, but the hand was ice cold, pulling me down with a strength that didn't make sense. I thrashed, kicking, clawing at the water, but the harder I fought, the deeper I sank. My chest burned as I opened my eyes underwater, and what I saw froze me in place. Dozens of pale, gray faces were staring up at me from the bottom. Men, women, even children. Their eyes were wide, mouths open, as if screaming, but no bubbles came out. The hand dragged me toward them. Just when I thought my lungs would burst, another hand, warm this time, grabbed my arm. It was my wife. She had jumped in after hearing me struggle. With one last pull, she yanked me free, and we both scrambled out of the pool, coughing, gasping, trembling. When I looked back, the water was calm, crystal clear, like nothing had happened. We packed our bags within minutes and left. As we pulled out of the parking lot, I glanced back at the glowing motel sign. For just a second, I could have sworn I saw wet, dripping handprints sliding down the inside of our window. A late-night swim at a desert motel turns into a nightmare when a man discovers the pool is home to something far darker than water. Vacations are supposed to help us relax, but sometimes the places we stay in hide secrets we can't explain. If the motel pool gave you chills, wait until you hear what happened inside a quiet little beach house in Florida. Story 2: The Beach House Stranger. My family rented a beach house in Florida last July. It wasn't fancy, just a small 2-story house with peeling paint, right on the shore, perfect for a quiet vacation. The first night was peaceful. We grilled food, watched the waves, and went to bed early. At around 3 a.m. I woke up to the sound of footsteps. I thought it was my brother heading to the bathroom, until I heard the sound of the back door sliding open. I got up quietly, heart pounding, and peeked down the stairs. The door was wide open. A breeze was blowing the curtains, and standing in the doorway was a man. Not my brother. Not anyone I recognized. He was tall, thin, his clothes soaking wet, leaving puddles on the wooden floor. His head tilted slightly as if he was listening to something. Then, without a sound, he stepped inside. I froze. He walked past the living room, dripping water, leaving dark footprints on the carpet. I backed into my room, locked the door, and shook my brother awake. We both pressed our ears against the door. For 10 minutes, we heard him walking around, pacing, dragging his wet feet through the house. And then, silence. We waited until sunrise before checking. The house was empty. The door was still open, but there was a trail of wet footprints that led from the door, all the way up the stairs, stopping right outside our bedroom. We left that morning. I don't know if he was a man or something else. Not all vacations end with souvenirs and photographs. Sometimes they end with questions that haunt you for years. And our final story tonight takes us deep into the woods of Colorado, where 2 friends stumbled on a place that should not exist. Story 3: The Abandoned Cabin in the Woods. During a camping trip in Colorado, 2 friends decided to hike off trail. By late afternoon, they were lost. As the sun set, they stumbled across a small wooden cabin. Relief washed over them until they realized the cabin looked abandoned. The windows were broken, the door half-hinged, but inside, there was furniture, chairs, a bed, and on the walls, scratched into the wood, were names, dozens of them. Some were carved deep, others shallow, as if by shaking hands. They decided to stay until morning, but at around 2 a.m. they were woken by the sound of scratching. Not outside, inside the cabin. The names on the wall were moving. New letters were being carved slowly, one by one. They shined their flashlight and saw it clear as day. Wood peeling back, letters forming. It was spelling their names. They bolted out of the cabin and ran blindly through the dark woods until they reached a road at dawn. When they told the park rangers, the ranger just shook his head and said, "That cabin shouldn't exist anymore." So, the motel pool, the beach house stranger, and the abandoned cabin. 3 different vacations. 3 terrifying experiences. And a reminder that sometimes, the scariest stories don't happen in the dark corners of the world, but in the places we visit to feel safe. Thank you for listening to tonight's stories. If you enjoyed them, don't forget to like the video, share it with a friend who loves horror, and subscribe for more tales that will keep you up at night. Until next time, stay safe. And remember, sometimes the scariest things are real.